Hello lovely people, it's Nicola back in the Stitches and Slapdashery sewing room. I had to do a major tidy in here today. I think it took me at least half an hour to clear off the worktops because I've been playing with evergreen boughs and orange slices and hot glue, which you'll see a bit later on. And I wanted to get some other things done, but I just didn't have a clean and tidy area. There were pine needles everywhere. So I'm just going to turn you around and we'll do a little tour. So yeah, it looks a little crazy, but this area didn't really need anything done. This is all just my bags I've made and haven't given away or I'm not using currently. This bookshelf is fine. It looks messy, but I know what's there. It's okay. Whiteboard. Probably time to clean that off. It's got all the Slovember details on there. If you wanted to go back and look at anything specific, that's what I did in Slovember. Box of batting was fine. My ironing surface I propped up down there, and I've got some fabrics in that plastic drawer unit there, and my threads, big neutral threads that won't fit in the little boxes down there. This is the main area here. Obviously this is my sewing room table with the lovely view outside. Look, no snow. It's been so mild, insanely mild. And the snow is all gone and it's been really, really windy. In fact, the power flickered this morning. Glad we didn't lose power. So I've pushed my evergreen boughs over to here in a container for now. I've put some Christmas fabrics here because I want to play with these. I found these short cinnamon sticks in the spice cupboard from last year. They'll make great toadstools. So I've got that ready to go. What I just did just now is I've redone these keychains. If you were with me in Slovember, you'll know that I made these keychains for my family. And I was really unhappy with them. So right here, where they join to the split ring, there was a piece of cord you could see, like a centimetre, and it just looked wrong. So I've cut the knot, put fresh cord on there, retied it on, added a little bit of fabric glue to keep the knot from unraveling. And now I'm happy with them and I can send them off. Oh yeah, and this is Zippy the dog, the one who had to be put down a few weeks ago. I did a little printout of his cute little face. Got my acrylics, some paper crafting stuff in here, some random other crafting. You know you're a crafter when you buy plastic Rubbermaid storage containers and you keep the cardboard because it's so cute and you might end up using it in your crafts. Gel pens, notebook, extra apple and orange slices with hot glue. But lots and lots of area to work in now, thankfully. There's my overhead ring light setup, my mannequin. And then over here, I didn't really have to do a lot with this pegboard. It was all pretty organized, but there's my serger. All of this was absolutely covered in stuff. This is my cutting area. These are my trims and grommets and glues and serger threads and pens. And then we get over to here. There's my sewing machine. This is the thing I have all my sewing accoutrements in, which normally lives on the sewing table, but I'm leaving it there for now. So I just had a quick rummage through here, tidied that up. There are my friend's owls, keeping my yarn safe. My old mechanical Janome. This is now a little embroidery cubby. Quilt cottons organised by colour, mostly, and some miscellaneous ones. larger bits of quilt cottons, K facet fat quarters, drool, my fairy notebooks, some faux suede cord there, and a couple of the containers I made earlier in the year. Miscellaneous yarn in there, button stash, miscellaneous yarn in here. Actually, this is quite organised yarn. It's bagged up by colour. It's the skinny stuff bagged up by colour. I just realised I left this stuff out and I hadn't found a home for it. Some of the things I also made earlier in the year. Well, the camera's going weird there. And another crocheted basket which doesn't have anything in it currently. An unfinished mushroom, which I really need to finish because, you know, mushrooms. Iron. Faux flowers, just because I couldn't resist them back in the spring when they went on super deep discount. I had my eye on them for ages, and when they went on really discounted, I got that bunch because they were so pretty. And that's my work in progress, or should I say, that is my unfinished object because it is hibernating. It's my 10-stitch twist blanket in that crocheted flower bag that I made probably a year ago now. And then my little armchair here, which has my stash buster blanket on it from the beginning of the year. In fact, I think there's another blanket underneath here. Oh yeah, there's a groovy gown under there as well. I am nothing if not a lover of crocheted blankets. And then a whole bunch of denim stash down there for upcycling. And fabric in here for using eventually. A lot of knits, a lot of wovens, some of which I was given, some of which are remnants. And then above my leaf print washing line, I've got tubs with more fleece, and above that, vinyl remnants. And then we come full circle around to my slow stitching, which I did earlier this year. Well, that was either October or Slovember, maybe October. And I kept these leaves. I got rid of all the other leaves I had hanging around in here, but I kept the two that I had mended with the little fabric patches and the one I had Mod Podged because I thought they were lovely. I've pulled out some random Christmas fabrics here. I've got some lighter coloured ones for underneath the cap of the Toadstools and some red ones. Got tiny buffalo plaid check there. One that looks like knitting. A red one. Whoa, and there goes my thread. One that's red with green trees on it. Some spotty fabric. And a lovely deep red. Got my little pieces of cinnamon sticks and some cotton thread. I'm going to try using the top of this jar as a template this time. So these mushrooms are going to be a bit smaller than the one I made the other day, but I'm hoping it's going to work out. And when I was cutting out the circles for this, I suddenly had a brainwave. I thought, wouldn't it be fun if you gave someone a gift in a jar this size? This is a narrow neck mason jar. If you put that on there, and yeah, it's dusty. I just got it out of my cold pantry down here. If you made a pretty fabric cap for a jar with red fabric, and it would look like a mushroom, or shall we say a fly agaric, or yep, I've forgotten the name of it again, Aminata muscaria. Oh, good grief, I forget that every time. We're going to have a go at making another little mushroom. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with these this year, but In fact, it's really nice having a theme. Normally I just make random things and then nothing goes together. Sometimes I have a gnome theme. Sometimes I have some other idea, but this is definitely the theme for 2025. So today is Mr. Stitch's 65th birthday. Good grief. After all these years of working hard, having the family, emigrating. Well, we had one child and then we emigrated and then we had two more. All these years of work and work and work, and we finally made it to retirement age. He's not actually retiring for a few more months yet, because he decided that the company he worked for would get his services for another 3 months to see them through their inventory in March. Which was very good of him. So I gave him his little drawstring bag filled with Body Shop products and his book sleeve and bookmarks this morning. He's not a particularly effusive person, but I think he liked them. And while I'm sitting here doing my stitching, he's gone off to the gym to get some exercise in, and later he's going for a massage. He did suggest that we both went for one, and I'm like, I'm not bothered about going for a full body massage anymore. I'd rather be here. And yeah, I don't think he was suggesting like a couples massage or anything, so it's not like I'm abandoning him. He really is happy to go on his own. Thought the house was going to blow away this morning. Got up this morning and I could hear all this racket, and I thought, what on earth is that? And then I realized it's just the wind blowing around the house. It wasn't even raining. It's actually really warm for the time of year. And it's not raining, it's sunny. I always feel like wind like this should be accompanied by rain so that it lashes against the windows and makes you feel extra cozy. But it isn't. And tomorrow is our wedding anniversary. So way back in 1987, we eloped, and we very quietly went off and had a holiday in St. Lucia in the Caribbean, 3 weeks. And we bought one of those Weddings in Paradise packages via the travel agent. And we got married there. There were quite a few other couples doing the same thing that week. It was very popular. I didn't take a white dress or anything. We had smart clothes with us. Mr. Stitches had grey trousers or pants and a white shirt and a pink tie. And I had a grey skirt, kind of a shimmery grey. It was very nice. And a white blouse. So we were dressed up, but not too frou-frou. Saw one couple where they had brought the whole wedding dress thing, and I just thought, wow, that must have taken up a lot of space in their suitcase. Once Mr. Stitches gets back from having his massage, we are going to go and get our tree today. I was hoping we could maybe go back to the practice of getting a free permit online and go out into the boonies and cut our own tree, because you're allowed to do that, especially under where the hydro or electric power lines are. Some areas you're allowed to just go and cut one tree for your family, as long as you pick a place that's appropriate. But it looks like we're probably just going to go to the local hardware store and get it from there. Not quite the same adventure, is it? But they do look rather nice when you get them from Home Hardware. Not Home Hardware, Home Depot. That's where we're going to go. And yeah, they normally sell really nice bushy ones. So we normally end up with a tree that takes over half of the living room just because it's beautiful. Oh yes, the last time I did this, I just found the center of this, didn't I? So that I snip in the right place. And I must also remember to snip smaller this time. When I made this last time, I made the hole far too big. You just make a little plus size snip in here. Oh yeah, make it really small. It can't be, I guess it can't be super small because I've got to get the thing turned out right side out through here, don't I? And then I have to stuff it. But err on the side of smaller rather than larger to start with, I think. Ooh, I'm going to snip the other fabric in a minute. So do let me know in the comments what you guys are doing to get ready for whatever seasonal holiday you celebrate. Yeah, I think that's a bit too small. I know some people like to decorate every room in the house and they go absolutely mad, which is lovely, but I just tend to decorate the living room. In years past, the kids have gone nuts on the strings of lights. Sometimes I've come home and I've found the lights are strung all around the kitchen, the living room, dining room, and all the way down the hall. And that's quite amusing. But I'm quite happy just to have the tree in the corner of the living room and the lights on the tree. And then I'm going to have my green garlands on the windowsills, which you'll see in this video. I'm not sure where I'm going to be editing that footage in, but that I made a couple of days ago. I didn't get in my sewing room at all yesterday. It's very sad. However, I did do lots of knitting, and I will be showing you the progress on my knitted vest, which is coming along really well. I didn't do that very well, did I? Because I've got little fraying bits sticking out of the edge. I must have left an inadequate seam allowance there. Damn. Well, I had a little fight with that because I obviously made my seam allowance too small and I had a little bit sticking out. But I am ultimately the winner. It did not beat me. I'll put a little bit of filling in here. I think that if I wanted a lot neater of an edge to these, it would probably be better to use my machine to sew them, tiny as they are. Because my hand sewing is obviously a little rough. The hot glue gun's heating up. I think that's enough. I wonder, actually, whether it would be more sensible to have the top part be a little bit bigger than the bottom so that it pulls it in. Obviously I'd have to finagle it as I sewed it, but then it might curve around better. That's a thought, isn't it? I think we've got enough padding in there. Let's grab one of my little cinnamon sticks here. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good proportion. Just got to wait for this to heat up now. And while that is heating up, maybe I'll try this idea out. See, this fabric is pretty good, isn't it? I mean, I know there's grey spots on there as well as white, but that would be rather good to make something that looked mushroomy. Going to have to figure out how to make a circle that's big enough. Maybe I need to go and grab a saucer from upstairs. I'm going to use my IKEA bowl. I think that's going to be big enough. You do need enough to fold down around this part to cover up the lid. But we're going to give it a go. And I'm going to cut it out with pinking shears so it looks pretty and doesn't fray too much. That's barely big enough, I did wonder. So if I was to use a piece of twill tape to tie around, yeah, should have made it a bit bigger. Another way you could do it, of course, you could do that, and then you could add the lid. Ooh, I like that. I'm not going to put it down tightly, but that's another way you could do it. You could put the fabric over the inside part of the snap lid and then put the ring on. That would be fun, and then you wouldn't need any ribbon unless you wanted to add some for decoration. An idea to pursue. I think my hot glue is ready now. I'm going to pile that hot glue in the middle. There. It's not touching the cinnamon stick around the stem. Can you see that? Oh. So I'm going to add a little bit more glue around the cinnamon stick, not the glue stick. Try and push it against the stick. It's that gold glue. I do not like this gold glue. It just looks icky. I'll wait for it to dry for a little bit. By holding it around the stick while it dries, you get more of a puffball shape. I pushed the stick all the way here, which means I'm not able to pull it down much, but that's okay. Just try and rearrange the edges a little bit. The nice thing about making toadstools is it doesn't have to look perfect, because something out of nature which varies in shape and size. There we are. I like it. I'm going to try a different sewing technique with this one. When I was back stitching, it just felt so fiddly and tough to get a nice line of stitching. So with this one, I am going to do a line of running stitch, and it's so much easier to maintain control of the fabric that way. And then what I will do is I will do a second round of running stitch in between the ones I've already done. So I still get the coverage, but it's going to be a lot less messy, I think. So I've seen a fun idea for December crafting. I'm not sure that I can remember the channel name, but I will link it underneath the video because I suspect she's Canadian because of the glue stick she was using. It looked like I recognized it as a brand that I've seen around here, maybe from Dollarama or something like that. But she did, or is doing, 12 days of snow globes. And it's brilliant. She has a little piece of fabric for each day. She draws mostly a circle. It's not always a circle, but she'll, for example, start by drawing a circle with friction pens so that she can iron off the lines afterwards. And then she'll colour it in with pencil crayons, just really, really lightly, just to add a bit of background. And then there's a different theme every day. So say she has a theme of a snowman, she'll use tiny scraps of fabric to applique a snowman on there. Little bit of fabric, little bit of stitching. It's so clever. She seems to be free cutting all of her little bits of fabric. Doesn't look like she's using any sort of template. And then she'll make it look like a snow globe by getting a piece of clear vinyl, which I think on the first one she said it was just a clear tablecloth she got from the dollar store. You can also buy clear vinyl by the meter at places like Fabricland, and I'm sure you can do that in the States or in the UK as well. So she cuts a little piece of the vinyl and lays it over her work, stitches that down, leaves a gap, and then she puts in lots of glittery bits, like little snowflakes and sequins and snow and bits of stuff that look like faux snow. So she puts a little scoop of something into the bottom of the bottom area of the plastic covering, and then she appliques what looks like a base for the snow globe. You have to see it. You really have to see it. I'm not doing it justice by explaining it, but it's so clever. And they all look really, really lovely. And whilst I've never been a particularly glittery sort of gal, I tend not to buy things like glitter and sequins and you know, little bits of stuff like that. She's done a really nice job with her snow globes, and it's still going. I think she's up to day 8. I think I watched day 8 last night. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm not sure what she normally does, but this little series that she's doing for December is awesome. This is one of those jobs where it would be handy to have one of those hemostat things, just to grab the fabric in the middle and pull it through, because it's tiny, too tiny. You know, these would make good little additions, wouldn't they, to gifts. You could put a little string on them and tie them to someone's gift, or maybe put a hanging loop in the top. When I initially thought about putting a hanging loop in, I thought it might pull the mushroom out of shape, but because of the way I've stuck it around the stick, the cinnamon sticks all the way through to the top, and I've stuck it down at this side, so I think it would be fine. So in fact, this could be a tree decoration, but for now I am going to add these to the decor on my kitchen windowsill, because I am just loving looking at this seasonal decoration while I'm standing at my kitchen sink. It's just lovely. Another one done. I really like that one. I wasn't sure about making it with a light fabric on top, but I love it. It's funny, when you start thinking outside the box for crafts, or for trying to include nature things into crafts, you're looking everywhere. We were out walking yesterday, and I was just walking slowly, saying to Mr. Stitches, I need to find a log. I need to find a nice branch, preferably like a birch branch that I could cut into chunks. I need to find this, I need to find that. In the end, I didn't find any of it. But it really makes you slow down and look around, which is a good thing. I love these so much. And I really, really want to try something else now. I'm going to go and find a cleaner, newer lid of this, and I'm going to try painting it, I think. I found some new Bernardin snap lids. Woohoo! So much for using them in the kitchen. Looks like I'm adopting them in here. They're brand new, shiny and clean. How many do I have? 4. Now I want to paint this red with the white spots. And there's 2 ways I could end up using it. I could use it as a jar lid and then put the ring on and use it as like a gift jar or something, or just a fun thing to keep things in. Or, once I've painted them, maybe hang them on the tree. They're not very sexy on the back though, are they? I suppose I could glue them back to back. Anyway, I am just going to do one for now, just because I want to try this. While my paint is drying, I'm just going to bring in the knitting, and I apologise in advance for the clattery needles. But I've put half of the stitches onto the needle I was using for the ribbing. So this is just a smaller needle, tips on an older purple cable. This is going to be the front. No, hang on a minute. Yes, that's right. I'm doing the back right now. So this is going to be the front. And of course, it occurred to me that once I changed from knitting in the round to knitting flat, my stripes were going to look completely different. That was exacerbated by the fact that I had a knot in my yarn and the colour changed wrongly or prematurely. So I'm trying not to get too attached to having a perfect striping sequence. So this is going to be the back, and as you see, we've got these lovely deep stripes. Well, relatively deep stripes. Now the interesting thing is the ribbing was done on more stitches than the body in the stockinette. So on here, this white didn't go all the way around, but in this part, the white went around. It even overlapped, like just here. Interesting. So I've cast off or bound off 6 stitches at each armhole, and I have done the armhole shaping decreases here and here. And I am this far up the back. I think I only have a couple more inches to go to get to the neckband, and then I have to bind off some stitches in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. I have to bind off some stitches in the middle for the back neck, and then presumably just finish off a little bit here and here. And of course, when I go back to the front, clatter, clatter, I may have to wind off some yarn from the main ball so that I can start again in maybe the gingerbread, because that's where it's supposed to be. Hopefully I won't have to wind off too much. And then, of course, when I get to the front neck shaping, there's going to be some bound off stitches and then some bit of shaping. And these bits will probably be finished separately, so they might not match unless I can finagle it somehow. And then it'll just be the ribbing to do around the armholes and the neck. So this has been a really quick project. I expected it to be quick because the yarn is bulky. It's Karen Anniversary Cakes in the Peppermint Plaid colorway. And this body part is done on 8mm needles, or size US 11. So yeah, nice and quick, in time to wear over the Yule period. And I'm really enjoying making that. So we'll get this tucked away from my wet paint again. And, well, hopefully the paint has had a chance to dry. I think you're going to have to wait till the next vlog to see how this turns out. I want to put probably a couple more coats of the red. The white spots, which the last time I did it on a rock, I used just an eraser at the top of a pencil, worked perfectly, just to dot it on. And then I will be using the Mod Podge gloss. So that is not going to be a quick project, but I'm sure it will be fun. this is what my kitchen windowsill looks like at the moment. Very roughly attached the garland to my windowsill, and I have added in some orange slices and my toadstools. It needs more. But it's a good start. I think my dehydrated oranges are sufficiently dry. I hope so anyway. My apples are very dry indeed. So I thought, seeing as the windowsill part of my kitchen window is decorated, it needs something hanging as well. These dragonflies, which I made for fall, are done with. These are all glued onto the pipe cleaner, so there's not a lot I can rescue of the pipe cleaner, but I should be able to rescue the beads and reuse those. It's a naked dragonfly. I made 3 of these in the end. A lot of the crafts that I did in November, or Slowvember, if you look at my channel, you'll see there's a playlist for Slowvember 2025. A lot of the ideas came from mudandbloom.com, which is a website for children's crafts based in nature, and they're lovely. I definitely feel I should have more of these. I must have used some up for something else that I've forgotten about, maybe. Not a problem. Seeing as I have this sparkly yarn out, I was thinking maybe what I could do is hang some orange slices up with some beads, and then also maybe hot glue a little bit of the greenery to it as well. I have no idea if this is going to work, but I'll start off by making a hanging loop for it. Let's see, I'm going to have to put your reading glasses on for this because I've got my contacts in and I can't see anything close up. Hopefully I can get this through this eye. Oh, I don't think I can. I'm going to have to get a bigger eye. This isn't as sharp, but it should do the job. I've got resin on my hands from the pine boughs, but it does smell nice. It's soup day in the Stitches and Slapdashery household. I like having a soup at least once a week, especially in the winter. I don't always do it, but I really need to because it's a good opportunity for clearing out things in the fridge that need using. And it's an easy option for dinner. So what I did was bake, or at least partially bake, a squash about this size. It was a lovely silvery green from the fruit stand that I went to earlier in the autumn. And I like to bake my squashes before I put them in a soup or something because it makes them easy to cut up. Otherwise I feel like I'm going to cut my hand off trying to hack them into pieces to bake them. All right, what do I want to do? Christmassy colours. I don't have a lot of Christmassy colours here. A little bit of red and green. All right, let's start with green and see if that knot was big enough. Oh, okay. So how about a green bead followed by one of these? Maybe, I don't know, they're not very thin. In fact, they're quite chunky. Maybe I'll just use the criteria of evenness rather than thinness. It's fine. Now the question is, am I going to take the thread up and through? Maybe I am. When I put some orange slices on the windowsill, the light shone through them and it looked very pretty. A little bit of greenery maybe. This might be a terrible idea, but I'm going to give it a go. Come on, bud. Time to get hot. Probably we'll do another bead at the top there. Of course, I'm going to have to cut that loop to get the needle off. Didn't think of that, did I? Doesn't matter. Really curious to see how this silver and gold glue looks. Try and center it. I think it looks a bit like a dream catcher with the greenery on it. So if that's hanging up in the window, I think that could look quite pretty. I've got another idea for the orange slices, but I've seen there's a woman on Instagram, and I'm thinking, oh, can I remember her handle? I think it's Crazy Crochet Helen or something. She is so fun. She makes the cutest little decorations and things. I haven't been following her for long, but I always like seeing what she makes, and she seems like a really nice person. And she made some really cute trees the other day. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try something else with my orange slices, and then we're going to try a little tree that I saw her make. Better let that sit for a bit. I don't think I'm going to put anything more on this one. I quite like this one. So I can go hang that in my window afterwards. So while that's thinking about its behavior, I'm going to unplug that. And I think, let me see if I can remember how Helen did this. It was a really simple idea. Okay, I don't need this anymore. Just need something to wrap my little bits with. I think she just had a bunch of pieces, small pieces. Grab a few here. As usual, I'm going from memory. Because, you know, God forbid I should go and try and find the original video that I saw before. We'll see how this works out, and I'll have to go and make the soup. I do want a bell for this, though. Oh, where did I put my bells? I'm just going to make a small one and see if it works out. Right now, it doesn't look anything like hers. So I'm just going to wrap, and then see if I can make it do what hers did, which was basically come to a nice thin curve at the top. Well, I don't think this looks quite how I expected it to. It doesn't really look like a little tree, does it? It looks more like just like some random bundle of bits. But I'm going to persevere. Give it a little haircut, maybe. There we are. Maybe give that top bit a little bit of a trim. Maybe not with those scissors. Maybe with these clippers. Uh-oh. So I'm going to pop a bell on the end. It's a gold bell. With my terribly tacky hot glue, gold hot glue. There. Is that terrible or what? If anything, it looks like it's a little green gnome, and I feel like I should put a nose in there and a beard, but I'm not going to. All right, that wasn't so successful, I don't think. Back to this guy. The hot glue has dried. Looks terrible on the back, but no one's going to be looking at the back, except maybe the birds in my yard. I haven't done a hanging thing for it. Okay, I probably should do that next. Three window decorations, very amateurish. But mostly natural if you don't count the hot glue and the acrylic yarn. And now it's time to make dinner. So that's it for this vlog. What did you think of my little cinnamon stick toadstools? Well, I guess one looks more like a mushroom and the other one looks like a toadstool. And they do smell nice too. Bonus. Yes, I think you could use those as a gift embellishment or a hanging ornament, or in my case, just a windowsill decoration. Either way is good. I'm really glad I redid these keychains. I'm so much happier with them now. There isn't a bare piece of string sticking out. So I have my little padded envelopes already, which I already had in a drawer from some reason, a while back. So that's great. Of course, I'm sending them over the Atlantic, so I don't know how long they'll take to get there. But I know if I send them surface, they won't get there till February. So I'll send them air and hope that they get there maybe in a couple of weeks. But with it being Christmas mail right now, who knows? So thanks once again for being here. As usual, I had a lot of fun in my sewing room, and I hope you had fun with me. And I will see you again soon for something else. I do have the rest of the week off, and you can guarantee I'll be busy with something creative. So look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.